Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, Commander, we're all here. You're all there. Glad to see you joining us on this Monday.
Look at all the ladies. As Chris Rock would say, love the ladies. Love the ladies checking in. Scott Tomko in a skirt.
Ricky
Scott,
King.
prayers for your wife. Hope she gets to feeling better. Ricky King, Mark Kurtz, Greg Garcia, Rena Shear, Marvin Mickish, Jr., Jay Glass in the house.
Good morning, Marina.
Hi, Marina.
Bobby Leister, Heather Stewart, Zed's in, my cousin Jarrett, Monty Howard, BJ Nelson.
Between your family and friends, we've got a pretty good program.
That's all that's in. There's Ryan Hopping. Jordan Glass. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're all here.
We need Marina to make a flyby back to just the States.
Texas.
Back to Texas would be nice.
I agree.
Shouldn't be that hard. Get on an airplane. I mean, come on.
One day, not today.
The Wade and Carter
Someday.
weather brought to you someday, eh? I want her to come back with that Canadian accent. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. I went by the other day and I got rid of my 2,4-D and picked up some atrazine.
Yep.
And I did put that down yesterday. Hey, Clayton and Casey, help. Good morning, folks.
Tammy Williams.
And I spot treated. And I don't know if this ever was doesn't happen to you. You had such a big yard, but I knew that I had this coastal southern salt marsh aster growing in my yard, and it's just a couple spots until I started walking around with a pump up sprayer. It's like my whole yard was covered in this stuff. So I spot sprayed it.
Well, you notice the big spot, and then when you start looking for it, you find them all.
It's got a beautiful little flower, and when you mow the yard, it tops it, and then it just spreads and spreads. So I sprayed it, and the instructions, which now at 63, I now read the instructions. They said, don't mow your yard 1 to 2 days, depending on the weather, before or after the application. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
So I put it down. The boys were thrilled because their to-do list had involved mowing the yard.
Yeah.
And we're going to wait and do that on Tuesday, weather permitting. But I've probably sprayed 50 spots in my yard, and it says that this particular molecule, if you will, this chemical won't kill my St. Augustine, but if it spots it, I mean, it'll look like a Dalmatian.
It'll come back.
72 degrees in Victoria under partly cloudy skies. I would call them cloudy skies. I'd call them overcast. With a high today of 88, so it's going to get muggy this afternoon. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are now predicted to be sunny, whereas last week they were predicting rain.
I think the rain is what, tomorrow evening? Tomorrow, eh?
Tomorrow, eh? Hoser.
Tonight. Looks like there's a chance of thunderstorms tonight.
Well, I like it when it does that, when we're not active.
About the time we go to bed, they'll be kicking up. Not much rain, just a light show to
Went
keep
out
the dogs
yesterday.
nuts and
Give a quick shout out to
sleepless.
my chickens. I went out we've got 6. We had 8. Dog got 1. Stress got the other. Yeah, the second one
wasn't the avian flu.
No.
That apparently going through the turkeys and keeping our turkey. That's what's part of the reason why turkey prices are a little higher this year.
Yeah, that's manufactured. That's like COVID for turkeys. That disease brought to you by the American Turkey Federation.
This horse, have you been paying attention to this horse herpes virus that is going around? This one,
Slutty horses, you promiscuous horses.
It all started in Waco.
Yeah, it did.
Figures. A Baylor horse.
They wouldn't let the horses dance.
Unbelievable. So what they do, they went out
didn't
back
bring in the dancing lipizoners.
They wouldn't let them dance, so they just went out back and copulated, and now they're spreading herpes everywhere.
No, this is it's put a damper on a lot of the year-end rodeos. There was a scheduled big women's roping and barrel racing event that was scheduled for Fort Worth or Arlington a couple of weeks ago, had to be canceled.
BJ Nelson, the Baylor grad, says, stop. So tell me this. That is the old Baptist
National
joke.
finals could be in jeopardy.
The old Baptist joke of why Baptists don't dance is because people might think you're having sex. So are you saying to me that this isn't like sexually transmitted herpes. The horses don't go out back behind the arena and do things they shouldn't do.
No, it's transmitted by
Contact.
nasal drops.
Great. You see a horse with a big old fever blister, just keep it away from your horse.
Equid alpha herpes virus 1 is what it is.
It's got a lot of places closed down
Yeah.
too right now.
Really? Hey, Dave.
And 14-day quarantine from suspected exposure. And
Does it kill
one
the
barrel?
animal?
Yeah, it can. One barrel racer was able. She had 2 horses infected with it. One of them survived or is surviving under some pretty intensive care, and the other one, who apparently was like an award-winning barrel racing horse, did not make it. So yeah, it's
Man.
pretty serious. It's got the national finals rodeo in jeopardy.
You know, it's funny how things come in waves, and like I'm going to give you one. It's not on our agenda this morning, but when was the last time you heard anything about climate change? Wasn't that like all the rage?
Well, we had no hurricanes, and that fuels that talk, and so they don't really know what to do with the fact that
So you don't hear anything
Hurricane
at all
season
about
was nothing.
climate change. Reports earlier in the year that the polar ice caps actually built ice for like the first time in 5 years, probably in response.
I think it's
to
a result of all those
Trump.
countertop ice makers. That's
It's
what
Trump.
it is.
Trump getting in office raised the polar ice caps. But very interesting that you don't hear much about climate change. And yet just this weekend, I just cruised X or Twitter to see. Most of my focus is on sports, but just to see what people are talking about.
We'll get to that, folks. Don't
PETA.
think you're getting away from that.
People for the ethical treatment of animals really, really out in force. And I don't know what the, maybe, honestly, is it a complaint about turkeys at Thanksgiving? I don't know, but they're out in force. There's Sherry and Ron Koshin checking in. Ash and I saw them both Saturday night. I have to tell you something. And we haven't talked about this, but I'll read your reaction because I'm looking at you right there on that screen. I went to this event out of respect for the work that Ron Koshin and Warriors Weekend and the purpose of the event. I wanted to support the event. I left there a fan of Endless Summer Live as the band, Cody, the band, you're too young to have been a Beach Boys fan, as am I. They had some music into the 80s, but I always thought they were really just a cool 60s band that hung around. They were kind of like,
But they got popular again in the 80s before
Yeah.
Kokomo, but their
but I
music
mean,
kinda
they were
came
always
back.
just kind of like, if everybody had an ocean. They were just kind of bebop, I mean, I
Across the
liked them,
USA.
but it was really difficult for them to compare to Kiss and Van Halen and Journey. And when I was in my, really serious music witness, but or era,
Jarrett with the
turkeys can
inevitable
fly.
WKRP
Right.
Les Nessman quote.
But that show Saturday night was top shelf,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What does that guy say? I've been places and I drink. And I'm telling you,
Endless Summer put on a heck of a
that
show.
was a
Yeah.
bottled water event for me, and it was just stellar. Hats off to Ron Cushion and Warriors Weekend for pulling one out of the hat. That was a great program. If you ever have a chance to, this band,
Endless
can't
Summer is
even-
the band. I think their website is Endless Summer Live and Facebook is
Yeah.
Endless Summer Live.
I
They were
ca-
voted the #1 Beach Boys tribute band.
That's
in
what
the
I was going
country.
to say. I can't even imagine how many Beach Boys tribute bands there are, and they were great. And the lead singer, the I guess the band guy, the front man, he did a "What If" Neil Diamond had done a Beach Boys song, and he sang it really good. And then they sang it as the Beach Boys, and they had the harmonies and the high tenors and all that. Anyway, Rena Shear was there. There were a lot of folks there. Brother Gary was there. Brother Gary Moses made an appearance.
Bob Constantine was there. Bob,
He got
by
a
the
couple
way.
of well-deserved shout-outs. I thought they were great. I thought the band was great. Bob Constantine, prayers for Bob. He is in Houston today. HIPAA violation alert. He's
No,
receiving,
we're not medical providers.
Yeah, he's receiving a liver and a kidney. It's awesome.
Got word, Friday night?
Yeah, they just said,
That
hey,
they had somebody ready to, that was a match and be ready to go.
they said, take a shower and be here on Sunday. So he's there. But what do you got? You got anything exciting? Fromber Valdez and First
Yeah.
Day Bacon Louise Astros update. Very brief for those of you that are hating sports today. Yeah, Ron says it's Alan Connor. I recommend you guys go check him out.
Spent a couple of
Summer
summers touring
Live.
with the Beach Boys when he was a kid. He was explaining all that. He had him and his family had a little band, and they did a summer tour 2 years in a row with the Beach Boys. And the first year, Brian Wilson was still with the band. The next year, Brian was having one of his many episodes, and a little-known artist named Glenn Campbell had taken Brian Wilson's place.
So
with
they
the band
wonder
at that
whatever
point.
happened to Glenn Campbell, that Glenn Campbell kid. But Fromber
Getting back to
Valdez
Fromber.
close to signing a $190 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles. We talked about this last week. Talked about that he's going to sign a big contract. My personal belief, and I'm not sure Ash agrees, is that he'll probably have that rejuvenated where he will pitch well. The Orioles, if they signs there, won't give him the run support the Astros have. I think he'll be a frustrated guy. I do. I think he'll be a really good pitcher. He'll have a good ERA, and he'll be, 10-8. I mean, that's what I think.
Orioles last year had a good year. This year, not so much. I don't know which Orioles team is the legit one. I think it's more the one that was back to earth this year.
Yes, I do
Fromber
too.
will help him.
Much like, no offense, but much like the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
The Rangers you saw this year were the Rangers. That's who they are. So I look at it and say, it's money we weren't going to spend on him. Good for him. Really appreciated him being here. And I don't know. Hey, Jason Brandon, I do wonder about Dawn was somewhat intrigued with this infielder kid that Dana Brown brought over from Atlanta. They're thinking that he might be, maybe he's a guy that drifts into playing everyday second.
Well,
I don't know.
there's talk that Isak Paredes could be on the trading block. Christian Walker's not going anywhere at first.
Well, he's a
But
three-time Gold Glover.
Paredes could be
doesn't play
moving
first.
because you've got Carlos Correa. Although I think you might get more for Correa than you do for Paredes, but
If you want to know the truth, if baseball wasn't about marketing, stop me if I'm wrong. If baseball wasn't partly about marketing, if I was trying to put the best team on the field, I would trade Correa and get a frontline pitcher, and I would package Correa and Alvarez and bring over half the Yankees and half the Dodgers. In a three-way trade, I would take, right? Tell me I'm wrong.
No.
I mean,
Could you
Correa is the
imagine-
guy that would go. Paredes.
could you imagine Judge and Yordan on the Yankees?
Oh man, yeah, with
Yeah.
Dave Justice, right? I mean, it wouldn't matter. That trio would still hit 120 home runs a year. No, I don't. I love to watch Yordan Alvarez play. I really like
When he
this
plays.
version. I like Carlos Correa 2.0. But Correa was trouble the first time he was here. And he came back in. He came back in and immediately resumed that leadership role where he's up on the top step of the dugout all the time. And I don't know. I don't
Either.
know how I feel about that.
Should we move into the Longhorns and the Aggies this weekend?
Great
You
weekend
and I,
for both.
You and I, great weekend for both. Although an expected weekend for one, and Arkansas, I give them credit. They hung around for 2 quarters, and then they proved that
that
they just
game-
didn't have it.
You know,
But the Samford game, what you and I have said all year long, why do you play Samford in week 11 of your season or whatever it is.
Well, keep Sanford playing football.
Yeah, well, yeah,
that's
that's because of the money. That's what a
Sure.
lot of people don't realize. The payday Sanford gets floats their entire athletic program.
Oh yeah.
But at this stage of the season, you risk some injuries. Even though you clown stomp Sanford, you could have some injuries, and you're heading into your arguably the biggest game of the year because and people are going, why does the SEC allow him to play that game? SEC doesn't control non-conference schedules.
No,
It was a favor to somebody somewhere.
I'll tell you this. I opine this. It's just my opinion. You hear people all the time talk about how high and mighty the SEC is, and I think to a degree it is. I think the top 5 in the SEC probably represent at least the top 3 are in the top 3 in the country. I mean, you can be the number 1 team. You could be the number 1 team in the Big 12, Texas Tech.
And you're the only team getting into the playoffs.
And you also might be the 5th or 6th best team in the country behind Georgia, Bama, and then Ohio State and Indiana. So but the top team in the SEC every year is always in the top 2 of the best teams in the country. The SEC always has a superlative team. This year, that team, I believe, is the Aggies. I think they're the best team in the SEC. And it's not because of their record, because if you go back and look, and this is not a put down to the Aggies, it's just mathematics. The record of the SEC teams they've beaten is something like 10-37 in the SEC. Everybody they've beaten in the SEC has a losing record in the SEC. So were they gifted a good schedule? Not at the time it was prescribed 5 years ago. Nobody knew that.
No.
Nobody knew that Ole Miss was going to be great.
Nobody knew LSU would be down.
Nobody knew that when these schedules were made. So you play the ones that they put in front of you, which is exactly what I told you last year when everybody was complaining about Texas having an easy schedule. But at the end of the day, if you go to 9 SEC games where you've got to play 9 times in the SEC, you're going to see more Samfords because Texas would be stupid to take a chance on losing to Ohio State when wins are so important. You can't get in with 3 losses. Wins are so important in the playoff picture.
But so is strength of schedule, and Samford does nothing for either.
No, but when you play in the SEC,
But
you've
Samford
got like a little asterisk. Yeah, but I'm saying the Aggies don't need that. I'll tell you this: if you are an Aggies fan,
It's odd to see that game scheduled so late in the year. First week of the season,
Maybe.
nobody raises an eyebrow.
well, Sanford was busy. You may not agree with me because if you are an Aggie, number one, you want to win them all. You want to be 12-0. I get it. And number 2, you really want to beat Texas. But I will tell you that if the Aggies had the long game in mind, it would be to their benefit to lose this game against Texas. I do not believe that the bye week is going to help them. I
don't think it
believe
does in
that.
football. I really don't.
And I'm telling you that the Aggies need, unless Mike Elko really is the coach of the year, which right now I think he's got my vote. I think that if they're not careful, they could use a refocus. Now, the good news is they're going to get that refocus. They're coming in here after a 48-0 shellacking of a nobody school, and they're going to come in all cocky on their good legs, and they're going to get that knife in the thigh because I think Texas is going to beat them. I do. Not because Texas is a better team. I don't think that. I think the Aggies are a better team. But as we've seen too many times, Texas versus Florida, the best team doesn't always win. In the long run,
The better team that day wins.
that's exactly right. And Arch Manning's coming off 5 straight games
He's looking better.
of throwing for over 300 yards. He threw for several, ran for one, and caught a touchdown pass on Saturday. Passed for 389 yards. Could have easily had, honestly, 500 if he'd have stayed in the game. The same guy that I've told you all season hasn't cost Texas a game really took over a game against an Arkansas team that, well, hey, they're in the SEC. There's no off weeks in the SEC. Every week's a grind in the SEC.
Could argue that Arkansas had off week. They haven't won an SEC game.
They're 0-7. That's hard to do. I mean, don't they play South Carolina?
Yeah, you think.
They're 0-7. Missouri hung around for a while. Oklahoma beat them. The Texas game was really essentially over at halftime.
Close to it. Early in the third, if not.
Early in the third. The Aggie game was over from the onset. Sanford was like, hey, good to see you. They'll go, hey, big fella.
They lined up for the pregame kickoff and went something like this. Please don't hurt me.
Right,
Please don't
exactly.
Hurt me. I want
Exactly.
to enjoy Thanksgiving.
Trying to
Don't
remember
rupture my spleen.
which Texas OU game it was. No, it wasn't Texas OU. Oh, man, it was back in the day. Anyway, Texas played somebody like when Miami came to town with Jim Kelly. Somebody like that.
Speaking of Kelly, Chip got fired.
Chip Kelly
in
got fired.
Vegas.
Yeah. But basically, at the coin toss, whoever their big defensive lineman was, who went on to be like, Tony Casillas or somebody, that's OU, but he just said, hey, let's get this over with early. And they proceeded to just pound Texas. Monty Howard was at that Arkansas game. What was the atmosphere like, Monty? Give us a note. Give us a call if you want. Anybody.
361-894-4020. Give us a call.
I'd love to hear your Aggie predictions. I'd love to hear some score predictions for the Texas game. I think it's
I think it's a shootout.
I think it's a shootout too. I do. I think it's a shootout, and I think Texas wins it. I do. I think I say 42-40.
I mean, when you let Samford score 0 against you.
Yeah. Well, people talk about Texas hadn't played a defense like A&M. Well, they played Georgia and still scored a bunch of points and put up a bunch of yards. They just got beat,
Ohio State early.
Yeah. I don't know what by the way, Ohio State, that game that Texas lost 14-7, still the closest game Ohio State's had all year.
Jordan Glass we'll switch gears here because
it's
how
a good
about
time
them
to switch.
Cowboys? Because geez, I quit paying attention to this game at 21-0.
Were you about to say something like Jeez Pete? You ever is that a Canadian thing?
I've never said that in my
Jeez
life.
Pete.
Never said that in my life.
Hey.
Never heard that in my life till now.
Okay, well, that's what you sounded like. It was an ashism. Yeah, Cowboys were down 21-0. Dak Prescott took over. He threw a literal dime right into the bucket. CeeDee Lamb, while getting interfered with, it drew a flag. Dak throws about a 50-yard pass that CeeDee fights off and catches. The Pickens kid, is it George? George Pickens. Let me tell you something. That dude is a star. Now, apparently he was a problem child in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That guy is a dog. If you throw the ball anywhere near Pickens, number 3, number 1 in your hearts, that guy catches the football. He reminds me of Michael Irvin.
Was it anybody else on Aubrey's game-winning field goal attempt kind of felt he was almost pushed that one? Maybe a little nerves?
Yeah, maybe.
It was only 42 yards. That was the problem.
Monty Hart says, we went to voicemail. We're past that now. We've already moved on. Monty, I just saw that it went to voicemail. The phone's on silent. I've got the ringer on. It's not a professional broadcast.
So take a break and move on. Find something else to talk about.
Hey, enough sports. The ladies are getting restless.
Getting restless. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. December 11th, we will be there with bells on.
December 11th, Thursday, Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Paravita Wellness, get your big butt in there and find something healthy, gluten-free, no preservatives.
Paleo, friendly,
homo, whatever you want. They got it.
vegan.
I'm in homogenized. Get in there. Vegan. There you go. No protein.
Nope.
The Dollar Floor Store. Wow, what a great group to deal with. I'm going to tell you, I've called them a couple of times. And just to touch base, get some ideas about what they're doing. They have the friendliest people, Cody. I'm talking about, and it's funny, folks, because we're in a text world, we're in an email world. I call these people and they go, hey, I can get you right over to her. And man, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'm like, it's literally, I'm being sincere. It's like you feel like, I think I just called like a really serious Christian-based business. That's how I feel when I talk to them, which makes me feel like if I needed flooring, I could go in there. They're good folks.
Yep.
Give the Dollar Floor Store a shot at your tile and floor business. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Reach out to Allen's for all your towing needs.
Hopefully they won't be busy this week.
Yeah.
Chances are they will be.
Yeah. There you go. H.R. Mallory on the Texas game says Aggies win. First half is a shootout. Aggies run away with it in the second. Okay.
I think this could be like a Madden or NCAA football game on EA Sports where the last team to score wins. That's typically how it works, but I mean, you'll score with a minute left, and that'll be the winning score type of thing.
Veracruz Restaurant this week. Get in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Get into Veracruz and enjoy the best Tex-Mex. Nothing sets the table for a turkey dinner like a great plate of just good old greasy Tex-Mex. Great salsa, guac.
Order some enchilada casserole and take that to Thanksgiving instead of one of the other sides that everybody's tired of.
You call over there and say, I want an enchilada casserole. I guarantee it will all be eaten on Thanksgiving Day. And if it's not, it's the best leftover ever.
Absolutely.
There's Sheriff A.J. Ladderback, our state rep for House District 30. Good morning, sir. You think that's really him, or you think one of his minions checks in for us? He's got a staff now, about 300 on that staff. 300 of them. 298 volunteers. Because he just looked at them. It's like they felt called. Like
just looked their way and all
like
of a sudden.
Like Peter down by the beach. Just felt called. Yeah. USA Concrete Coatings. 578 Home. Charlie Garcia and his team will help you and yours. They'll put down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't
crack, stick, peel, or fade.
It's fantastic. They are fantastic.
There you go. Andrew Alvarez calls that enchilada dressing.
I guarantee it. I mean, it would make perfect sense to me, being a completely desensitized Texan. I would get some turkey. I don't know why. The dark meat's better, but I always get the white meat. I get some white meat. Maybe I'm racist. I don't know. A little bit of dressing, and I would get a little enchilada casserole. If it was sitting there, that's what I would put on my plate. First round, not like second round. Wow. Did you read that?
Yeah.
You know what? So does this sound?
This is the problem with healthcare in America right now. The cost is because of this.
A woman was forced to fill out paperwork while in active labor at a Mesquite, that's just outside of Dallas, hospital. She's hired a well-known civil rights law firm to represent them in a lawsuit. By the way, active in labor, if you're picturing feet in the stirrups, dilated to a 10, crowning, please don't. Women are in labor sometimes for many hours. I'm not defending the hospital, but, by the way, she could have gone by, she had 9 months to go by and fill out the paperwork in advance. I don't understand.
Probably didn't have much in the way of prenatal care.
Yeah, says the woman reportedly waited more than 30, which means we probably paid for the birth. The woman reportedly waited more than 30 minutes at the hospital before she was taken to labor and delivery, where her son was born minutes later.
Video shows her screaming through contractions as the nurse asks about her medical history.
Well, okay, so I'm not defending the hospital, but there's two sides to every pancake. Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, do you have anything we should know about it? For example, it would matter if you're a free bleeder. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you I'm a hemophiliac. I forgot to tell you that.
Woman's mother says it was paperwork over life. She says that the person telling her when she got there said it was a nurse, but I don't know that it would be in the ER. The quicker you sign, the quicker we can get her in the back.
Yeah.
The hospital is investigating, and the staff member in the video has been placed on leave.
There you go.
So
that's fair.
But there's the problem with, and it's not just here. The paperwork and the processes involved with healthcare have become problematic and made healthcare more expensive, too expensive, and care is no longer at the center of healthcare, and it's no longer healthcare anyway. It's managing your conditions. They don't want you to get better.
First word I thought it was managing. Yeah, there's no doubt. I talked to a buddy this weekend that his mother has ovarian cancer, and he was going to check on her. He lives around Austin, and she lives over in Baytown, and said she was not feeling well. Ended up going to the doctor, to the ER, and they decided to admit her. And they couldn't understand. They weren't going to let her go. They got her stabilized. She was dehydrated, and she's 83, I think. And they decided to finally ask her. They said, well, the reason we're not letting you go is your white blood cell is very high, very high. And she said, I need to talk to my oncologist. And they went, huh? Nobody had ever asked her she had cancer. And he was like, well, yes, of course. She's got a high white count because I prescribed something to keep it high because she's on chemotherapy and I didn't want her to get sick. So communication's a key. You have to tell your doctor everything. Your doctor, your lawyer, your insurance agent, tell them everything. Let them sort it out.
You see this out of Odessa? Yesterday, Odessa police responding to an incident on the road where a Nissan 350Z was operated by Leroy Robinson and repeatedly struck a Nissan 370Z operated by his brother Roy.
That's brother Leon.
Leroy and Roy.
Leroy and Roy.
They were getting into it in the afternoon. Apparently, it was not a road rage incident. It was isolated between the two of them.
It was a video game gone live.
Yeah. And then once he forced his brother into another vehicle to stop,
Now we have.
he got out and then shot him several
Did he
times.
kill him?
No.
So Leroy shot Roy?
Yeah. Several times. There's more to this story. We just don't know.
Just let you know, man, the struggle is real.
Those of you in Austin, those of you that go to Austin frequently, Ford proposed designs for a couple of projects over I-35 being discussed. Austin was just poorly designed from the get-go, but
Well,
no,
it was never
but
supposed
no,
to be that big.
well, no city can ever really account for or keep up to growth that quickly. I mean, it's just a fact of life.
The whole idea of having the river is romantic and fun and all that, but the reality is, anytime you have a river, you have to get across that river, and it always slows everything down. What are the folks talking? There's Brother Ralph and Brother Gary. There you go. Good morning, Ralph and Gary over at Magic 95.9. There's a lot going on here. Monty Howard says Texas game atmosphere was great. Would have gotten really loud if the game was more competitive in the second half. Yeah. Oh, good. There was a guy from Mountain Home, Arkansas, and he went in for Ash. Ash had some work to do, so he stayed here and didn't go to the game.
Good thing Monty's hip survived it.
Good job, Mon.
I was worried about that. Coral Gobblers were on NBC Nightly News last night. I missed that one.
What a prolific program.
You see the
They're
finish
still
in the
playoffs.
East Bernard game? East Bernard was down by a touchdown with like a minute left, got the kickoff, and did a little razzle-dazzle and a pitch to the sideline. And
How about that?
the guy took it up near the sideline, and that was a winning touchdown.
Norm Burgess says it's raining in Frisco.
Yeah, that's what's coming here tonight.
Now, what did Heather Stewart say? Because she usually knows what's going on. Says there are things they need to know in order to treat you. Unfortunately, we live in a sue-happy world. The hospital is being sued for doing paperwork. If they had not taken the time to do the paperwork and something had gone wrong, they would have sued them then too.
I struggle with how you can not get somebody back who's obviously at the ER and I would think visibly pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we're talking 500-600 pounds and you can't tell she's pregnant. But anyway.
Absolutely.
But you couldn't have got her back there and then figured out the paperwork and had somebody ready to go.
It's why your costs go up on everything, though. We had a
Yeah, because they'll settle for $500,000 and it'll go on the insurance, and then the insurance company will raise everybody's rates because they've got to cover these frivolous lawsuits that are easier to settle and cheaper to settle than actually fight them to prove that you did no negligence and nothing wrong. That will cost you $3 million to fight.
That's right.
And then everybody's premiums go up that much more.
Well,
because,
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
The people you have to watch, and I get it.
Start charging those people for the lawsuits that they file that are that are found to be frivolous or no error. Then you'll start seeing the lawsuits fall by the wayside.
Yeah, but it's a difficult. I walk both sides of the deal because I deal with liability every day, contractually transferred liability every day. And we had one just in the last 2 weeks where we're put on notice that one of our commercial, it's always the commercial guy, right? If it's a business truck, had a little fender bender. Like, reportedly, nobody was hurt. No ambulance was called. And you get the notice from, and I use it in the cumulative, you get a notice from Thomas J. Henry or the Texas Hammer, right? You get these notices from the lawyers. And they're just, my client clearly suffered in excess of $1 million. You know, we want $1 million for this. Like, we're doing you a favor. We only want $1 million. And the problem is, from the get-go, the insurance company is on the defensive. You don't really have to prove a whole lot. We have to prove that we don't owe you anything. It's very, very, and by the way, we're all somewhat predisposed, right, to say, to the insurance company, because we all pay insurance premiums and we hate insurance too. We do. I mean, I pay for it. I tell people, man, I'm with you. I hate it too. I buy it. It's expensive, but it's expensive because of people like you. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, Tammy Williams says, my irritation is the civil.
Yeah, that's where the story's going. They hired a civil rights lawyer, which tells you all you need to know, right?
Because of her race. It says, but should we assume she didn't have insurance because of her race? That would be stereotyping. That would be, that'd be profiling. We call it observation, but that's a whole different subject. Very interesting. Yeah. Linda Chris says, you have to prove lasting damage, but here's the deal. How do I know you're paying? On a scale of 1 to 10, you mean like the frowny face? No, it's a 9. It's a 9. Oh, the pain. $1 million later, you're in the Bahamas.
Well, and what's the lasting pain? The kid's got problems for life because of that? I mean, nobody will know, right?
Right. Nah, we need tort reform that just puts a cap on all that stuff. You know, if you were going to drive, you assume a certain amount of responsibility. Yeah. By the way, I could also say, I mean, if you really want to cut it out, you blow over a .08, you're going down. We're going to kill you. You drink and drive in this state, you die. Now, you do that, DWI goes away. We
probably have no deaths on the Texas highways for the first time, and HR knows, but what is it, like 20? We're going on 20, 30 years with a day where we haven't had a death.
Speaking of, we talked about where climate change was. When was the last time you heard of a targeting call in football? Any level. It used to happen every week. It's targeting. That's targeting. Even the fans don't scream targeting.
I think the players have adjusted in college anyway.
Really?
I do.
They still hold.
Yeah, but that doesn't kick you out of the game.
True story.
How about this out of Newton County? That's over in East Texas. Jasper County deputies, Newton County deputies getting involved in a huge dog fighting operation Saturday. They had drones. I've seen pictures of this thing. It's pretty prolific, and credit law enforcement there. 40 some odd people arrested, 40 vehicles, drugs, illegal firearms, a bunch of cash.
Sounds like someplace Wade and Carter should have been.
I think I lived next to that place when I lived in Jasper for a few years.
Yeah, this place was I mean, it was the pictures of the dogs, I feel for them, man. They're beat up.
Yeah, no doubt
torn
about
up, but the people that were...
They should have known when Michael Vick drove into town.
The people that were involved in this, Yeah, here's the problem. I think it was Operation Pitbull, but I don't think anything's going to happen. Honestly,
Yeah.
to these people, most of them, it's just Texas needs. If you want to clean that up, Texas needs to toughen its laws on animal cruelty. I mean, you watch this winter, your Facebook feed will be full of posts, people blaming local animal control because somebody's going to have their dog chained up outside when with temperatures dip to freezing, and they're not going to have access to water, or the water
Right.
bowl will be frozen over, and they'll blame animal control on this.
It's not
Nobody ever
animal
blames the
control's fault.
owners.
Blame the owner. Sue the owner. You want to end that? Fine them. Fine them. And you know what? You fine them big money. $1,000. $1,000, or we'll give you $100 a day credit in jail. People stop doing it. I mean, you got to make. You don't think that punishment is a deterrent? It's a deterrent
When
to that
yeah,
guy.
yeah, when that person can no longer afford their brand new iPhone
That's right.
because they got to spend $1,000 on a fine.
H.R. Mallory, Super Trooper, says DWI is the third leading cause of fatalities. Speed and not wearing seatbelts are 1 and 2.
I mean,
So
technically,
if you have about a 6-pack and you're going 95 on the interstate without a seatbelt on, you're a dead player.
Yeah.
You just don't know it.
Yeah.
It's all three, right?
I mean, I
Yeah,
would say
you
that's
got the trifecta.
Yeah, I would say that's excessive speed because I always love those reports. Speed thought to be a factor in the crash. Well, if you're not moving, there's no crash. So speed's always a factor.
Speed's always a factor, right?
I mean, 5 miles an hour is speed, right?
I was really upset with the city of Victoria, and I was wrong. Hard to do. 9 years. I've only had to do that a couple of times. I was upset because the city was closing down Millette. And like on a Friday, when I had places to go, they're out there stripping old asphalt and putting down a seal coat and all that. And then I realized they were getting a head start on the fact that school is out. So watch for kids while you're driving today. School is out, which gives them a really good several days here to do what they want to do on the roads without having to worry about school buses, getting kids to and from. And I
As
thought,
opposed to all summer.
look, well, don't do that. Don't. They're tired. But as I look back, I was incorrect. I should have realized that they were actually having pretty good timing here. Yeah.
Kelly Frommie asked, how's our county been recently treating DWIs and DUIs? I don't know, honestly.
I don't know. We need to have our friend Constance Philly Johnson, who's our district attorney, come in because all that falls straight in her purview. The attitude, the tolerance, if you will, the rehabilitation of the drunk driver is directly reflected in the attitude of the district attorney. I think that Constance Philly Johnson has done a great job, but I don't know where she stands on prosecuting DWIs. So you'll recall that back in the day when Steve Tyler was here,
Every one of them went to trial.
because a judge at one point had let someone out. Am I right? Help me
I
with the
think
big
so.
picture.
I think a 3 or 4 time
A
offender.
guy had a couple of offenses, and the judge let him out, and he got drunk and had an accident. I think
killed a kid,
He
I think.
killed somebody, and Steve Tyler said, "That's it. I will prosecute every DWI." Now, is that normal? I mean, if a guy like Ash, who's maybe had 4 or 5 DWIs, if he goes, not really. If a guy has a holiday party and doesn't realize that, whew, man, I had a little bit more than I thought, but I can get home, and that guy gets pulled over and gets a DWI, does that guy deserve to go to jail for a year? No. But, if that guy knew that he was going to jail for 6 months just for having a DWI, I bet you that guy would call an Uber. So punishment is a deterrent. Justice is a deterrent. I've got no problem with that.
I'd be curious to see how the incidents of DWI have decreased back in my home province of Alberta, where they upped I think, first offense is an automatic year suspension of your license and 3 months in jail, I believe.
Wait, Constance Philly Johnson was on Bill Posey's show this morning? Interesting. Good for Billy.
Yeah.
Great program. Comes on before us. 45 minutes, the hottest 45 minutes in radio.
On the Magics.
6:15 to 7. Magic 95.9. What do you make of Ukraine, Ash?
I don't know. I was going to say, should we take our final break and shift gears?
I think we should. Folks, the chopping block, I went in this weekend. I went in on Friday afternoon and bought wings, and they were fantastic. They had like they called it like creamy ranch buffalo wing. It was great. It was great. Put them in the air fryer, and just you can fine tune that thing until they're the right crispiness.
I've found that's the best place to do those.
They
things.
are great. Then I took the bones and threw them into a hopper that can be picked up by White Trash Services. 550-1826. Chopping Block still has turkeys available if you want to go by and get a turkey. They've got great deals. Sometimes you want beef on the Friday following. Go by and get it.
Nice beef Wellington.
White Trash can help you. Reach out to BJ and Scott Nelson, 550-1826.
Holidays are coming up. You're going to want a dumpster post-holiday season to get rid of all those boxes and the tree and all the other trash that you'll accumulate over the holidays.
They can help.
Yeah, White Trash can get a dumpster. They can get a roll-off to you. They can get a larger dumpster that can be collected every week if you want.
There you have it. Not to mention Chesnick Furniture, or absolutely to mention, Chesnick Furniture. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Bobby Leon and his family available to deliver a new dining room table. Piece of furniture that you don't use but 2 or 3 times a year, but it's beautiful. It's like art for your dining room. Reach out to Chesnick today. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. See why you just always do better at Chesnick. And then Went Services. Went for your next generator. If you don't have a backup generator, then you are susceptible to the grid failing. And it would be great if you had a generator. Generac, turnkey.
Yep, Generac. They are a preferred Generac dealer. They can get a Generac to you expeditiously while everybody else waits for a Generac. Not folks that went because they are on their list to get them to you real quick. Junior says his test fired last week. So there you go.
Fired up and it was seamless.
Always
Didn't
showing.
reset all of his clocks in his house either. It
I
worked
tell you what,
great.
this is the time of year too where you realize that you don't have enough outdoor power outlets for all your Christmas lights and Christmas yard decorations. Went to help you with that. They absolutely can.
Yep. Atzenoffer and atzenoffer.com. Let Atzenoffer help you get your next vehicle. Celebrating 100 years in 26. We'll be talking about it all year long. Tommy Taylor and his team eager to help you find that new Chevy. See the USA in a Chevrolet. As Tommy told me on Friday, the flags are flying. Folks are buying. They're stacking cars like candy bars.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
And they're just down the road from higher prices on the Navarro Motor Mile. Brand us. Commander Cody is our guy. The graphic you see, Cody made in about an hour. And he only billed us for 20 minutes. It's a great thing. Reach out to Cody. Go to Brand Us on Facebook.
I think it was the other way.
Yes.
It only took 20 minutes. He billed us an hour.
Brand Us on any part of an hour is an hour. It's like a high-dollar attorney.
There you go. Linda Chris says, Wentz the best. The generator came on for the first time this weekend.
That's awesome.
Sure what caused that power outlet.
You were going to talk about Ukraine.
Yeah, because there's talks continuing in Geneva. Apparently, they all met yesterday to try to put an end to the war.
Everybody gets a Rolex.
Yeah. President Trump set a deadline of Thursday for Ukraine to respond to his 28-point plan. I guess he's not planning on working on Thanksgiving.
I got to tell you, there's one sentence in here that blows my mind. Ukraine has received more than $400 billion in aid, including $118 billion from the United States. I mean, folks, make love, not war. $400 billion. I mean, that's like giving David a whole truckload of gravel to fight Goliath. I mean, either get after it or get out. $400 billion. We say that like it's nothing. Ukraine apparently upset with Marco Rubio's proposal to help end the conflict because allegedly it gives too much concession to Russia. Russia has allowed you to spend $400 billion, and you haven't beat them yet. In other news, Russia spent $87.50 and sent a bunch of encrypted conscripted, drafted slaves to fight the war. They're now killing Ukrainians with Northern Koreans.
Well, Zelensky's trying to also deflect from the corruption and fraud
Oh, I bet he's
issues
got
that are
he's got
plagued
$1
in his
billion
country.
out
One of
that.
them, I think the latest around a nuclear power company that they were kickbacks that were
yeah,
awarding work and taking money back from that work.
because you still gotta work when you're a politician in Ukraine. Now, I'm not blaming Zelensky. I'm not saying Zelensky got any of the money. He probably got his money directly. There's probably been a fund set up to help him live happily ever after. He'll probably move to somewhere like Dubai.
Allegedly, the kickbacks allowed some of the executives of that nuclear power company to buy a $6 million property in Switzerland.
Yeah, in a neutral country.
Yeah, and we're talking 100 million. I think it was one number I heard, over 100 million dollars in corruption just to this company alone. And this is the sort of corruption that Zelensky vowed to clean up when he ran for president and was elected president.
I got one for you.
Okay,
I hadn't shared with you yet. Does anybody see the hypocrisy that in Florida over last week, I saw a heartfelt emoting, gushing forth with outrage and tears, literally tears. A man who was in a Habib talking about that he had been tortured by people showing apparently and screaming the word bacon while he practiced his Muslim prayer visage in public.
why would he be in one of those? Isn't that reserved for the women?
I don't know. Well, he's in a robe. He had a hat on. You would have thought he was in the Middle East, but he was actually in Florida. The perpetrators have been charged with a felony hate crime for mocking the guy. Felony hate crime. That doesn't look good on a resume.
No.
For mocking the guy. And yet, in the same year at Columbia and Harvard, I don't know who that is. Leave a message and we'll call you back. At Columbia and Harvard, school presidents defended the right of students to say death to the Jews on campus as free speech.
From the river to the sea, they were chanting it.
So you can say from the river to the sea to a Jewish kid on a college campus,
Organized.
and it'll be defended by the administration. But if a couple of individuals
who are being idiots,
they're not good people, but they get charged with felony hate crimes. You know why? Because we always protect the victim. If you're Muslim in this country, you've got a cakewalk. We'll find a way to get an exception to get you on a ballot. We'll find a way to make sure that nobody infringes. I saw a video the other day of a lady in the United States complaining because there was too much bacon in a grocery store.
Find another grocery store.
Take your ass back to the desert. That's what I say.
I mean, and we haven't paid enough attention to this, but I don't see much of it elsewhere either. Have you seen the fraud coming out of the Somali community in Minnesota talking millions in COVID relief money being taken by healthcare companies that apparently weren't providing any healthcare, just faking records to take government grants, and SNAP benefits. Grocery stores claiming that they had a lunch counter and they were feeding thousands of people. I think we talked a little bit about this one a week or so ago. And at most, they might have fed about 30 people. And no idea whether they were going in for a free meal or actually buying something from the lunch counter. But the traffic patterns into these buildings did not mirror the grants that they had applied for SNAP funding. I don't know what to say, but there's not much going on in the mainstream media on this on these two items out of Minnesota, and Governor Walz
He's useless.
not saying anything because
Ilhan
what can he
Omar
say?
marries her brother, comes over here. She's now what? A representative in Congress. Moron Zamdami. You know, folks, people have lost their minds. People have lost their minds allowing these folks to take office.
Israel this morning claiming to have killed a Hezbollah chief of staff.
Hezbollah acknowledging that person is dead.
Yeah, took a while, but they finally did.
They did it in Lebanon, which is the first time they've attacked Lebanon since June. Killed 5 people, wounded 25 others. People forget how precise Donald Trump is. Donald Trump simply kills the drug boats. Donald Trump kills the guy he wants to kill in the back of a truck in the middle of the desert.
Well,
Nobody
there's the
else was
difference.
hurt.
Hezbollah hides amongst the people.
Right. So some of them have to die. Get rid of your bad guys, and then you won't die. Life has consequences. We can't just go in and you can't have a war and go in and only kill the soldiers. It just doesn't work that way.
Tammy Williams asked, what's our take on Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning?
I think there's a chance she's going to try to rebrand herself and run for president in 28. I think she'd settle for a vice presidential role.
I could see that happening.
Vance Green, does that work for you?
No, I don't think it would work for her.
No, you think she'd want to?
No.
You think she'd want to debate?
I don't think she would run on that ticket.
She would run against Trump. That's the next president is going to be a Republican who runs against the very few of the Trump items they don't like. Like she didn't like that Trump didn't just release all the Epstein files. She knew she wasn't on there, so she wanted it all out.
Which is interesting because the people that have been slowly being released as names on this, a former reporter who worked for USA Today, I think wrote a biography on Trump prior to 2016 about his election campaign in 2016. A few other higher ed executives. One of them who was asking Epstein for advice on how to hide his mistress from his wife.
Yeah,
And then his wife was texting Epstein for advice on things too. It's weird.
When did Epstein become Dr. Ruth? Michelle Wilson August says 48 new mosques popping up in the Dallas area in a little over 24 months. We call that an insurgence, folks. That's what it is. It's an insurgence. You're at war. You're at spiritual war, whether you realize it or not. And you're losing. You're losing. You're losing the spiritual war. And you're doing so in the idea that you're just allowing everybody to say what they want to say. Hey, man, free speech. Come on in. You want to say death to the infidels?
Go
That's
see,
cool.
go watch some of the videos of some of these radical imams that lead some of these mosques and how they're just gloating that they're taking over. It's
Andrew, I don't think
interesting.
Marjorie Taylor Greene quits the House to run for the Senate. It's not a good look, right? Like, I quit my job, but I want to serve you. It's not a good look.
you just ran in 24 and she's, I don't know. It's I don't know what her end game is. There's some saying she wants to run for governor, and I don't know that she has a chance.
Right.
I guess some polling has her way behind.
Is
but
BJ talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Says, I don't think she's become liberal. She just can't negotiate and be effective in the conservative groups. I think she's unelectable.
yeah, I think she's trying to move back towards the middle. If you look at the Democrats that won in November, they all ran 4 years ago. They were all running towards the democratic socialism platform or wall. They lost 24. Aside from New York City, they took a more centrist approach, and then they ended up winning in New Jersey and Virginia. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene has seen some of that, and I think she's trying to appear as more of a centrist. That's what I think's happening with her. I think it's purely political. I don't know that she's changed her views, or did she change her views to win in 2021 on the MAGA platform, and now this is who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. I don't think we'll ever know, to be honest.
Since I mentioned faith, John Anderson with a solid question. He says, will there ever be world peace? I hope so. Don't you think maybe Jesus Christ should have shown up by now?
I think everybody wants world peace. I just don't think it's possible. You have egos involved. You have
evil involved. You have the
evil.
devil involved.
You have
the
people
world system
radicalizing religion or communism to combat religion as they do in China and other places.
I think God's giving us one more chance, and he's doing what he's so often done, so often throughout our history, whether it be Abraham or King David or Noah or Moses. They were all highly flawed vessels, highly flawed. None of them were elite religious people. And at the end of the day, God used them to serve his purpose. And I believe that Donald Trump is, maybe without even his knowledge, or his faith may not even let him know, he's being used so often to give the United States one more chance. And if we fail, it'll be on our hands. Just amazing how many people don't get out and vote. And we need your votes. Folks, it's the top of the hour. We hope you have a blessed week.
Have
It
a
is a
great
Thanksgiving
week. It
week.
is
Lots to
Thanksgiving
be
week.
thankful for.
Busiest travel weekend ever is what they're predicting. So
Don't have a couple of drinks to hit the road with confidence. Be careful. Be stable. Call Allen's Record Service if you need them. We love you. Goodbye.
bye, folks.